Hello, I believe you can hear me clearly. Let me just see. We have Funmi, we have Ife Oluwa. Please, if I'm not pronouncing your name clearly, right, apologies from my end. We have Ishmael Halidu, we have Mahama Haruna, we have Mariama, we have Nana. So welcome to this call. We are going to have like a lot more persons join us. But again, I want to know, where are you joining in from, or is this your very first session? And this session is tailored towards being or how you can strive as a data professional without years of experience. Can I know the aspects of data? What domain of data or what aspect of data are you currently working in? So for myself, I am a data scientist. I would want to know, are you a data engineer? Are you a health analyst? Are you a financial analyst? Are you a business analyst? A data, what's it called? A data business intelligence analyst. All right. So I would want to get to know you. So thank you so much, Ife Oluwa, for that response. I need more responses, guys, so we know how to, or rather, I'll have like a clearer picture on how to tailor this session specifically for everybody. Can I get more responses before we can proceed? That's from Imole, Foni. Hi, I'm from Gambia. This is my first time joining. Welcome to today's session. And yeah, we're going to be learning a key strategy that I have noticed and that I have tested out for myself, that I believe it would be suitable for you in your journey to landing that role, because the whole essence of you going through all of those resources, those courses, those boot camps and all of that is for you to get an improved standard of living, get that target role or pivot into that industry, right, that you want to thrive. So welcome everyone to this session, and we will just be jumping right in because I want us to be out of here in the next 1 hour. All right, so this, if you're just joining us for the very first time, welcome to an Amdari experience session. Now, the foundational baseline of what Amdari does, it's more like there are a lot of persons that have either taken courses in data analytics, like you can see on my screen, in data analytics, data science, data engineering, business analysis, cyber security, and all of that. They've gained the foundational basics. But then there's a difference between what they know and what is being done in the industry. I don't know, I read engineering, all right, in my undergrad, structural engineering precisely. And then the very first time I went to the site for my internship experience, okay, there was a clear stack between what was being done, that's during when we're doing structural design and all of that, to implementation, because we had to do like piling and set up, like I joined them from the foundation. So it was clearly different. Why? Because when you are getting to the practical side of things, when you're trying to deploy these skills in action, it is absolutely different from what you're reading. I am being practically honest with you. So it's the same way that you have taken a lot of courses, you've probably watched YouTube videos, you've gone through resources, and you've gathered the foundational knowledge in each of these career paths. What Amdari does is, how can we help you gather the relevant top-notch industry experience that you would need to close that gap and thrive? So in some way, this is you, this is Amdari, or rather, this is you, this is where you want to be in terms of industry experience, in terms of you working in a role and being proficient, being technically competent, and that gap in terms of your technical exposure before you land that role, that is what Amdari closes. So in simple terms, we are revolutionizing the way people acquire industry knowledge and experience. You've learned the basics, that's awesome, you're on the right path. But to get to the level of being technically competent, of you being able to stand out as a professional in your diverse sectors, that's across the career paths that I listed on my screen, that is what Amdari does. So if this is your very first time, welcome, welcome. I believe we are going to get value at the end of this session, but I just want to join us that to make this session very beneficial, we need to have a dialogue, more like a conversation where if I ask for, let's say, a question or your opinion on something, you could use the chat and respond, and we would have a good time during this call. Excuse me. So now, this is just a background intro into Dari, who we are, and our founders. And also, I'll get to introduce myself. This is Efemina Ikpro. Efemina Ikpro, he is the co-founder of Tenalytics and also Dari. If you've never heard of him before, welcome. Right? There's always a first time for everything. So he has years of experience spanning across working as a data scientist, a business data support lead, a data analytics manager that's spanning across data analytics, data science, and data engineering. And we also have Adeza Suleiman. He's also the founder of Analytics and the co-founder of Amdari. If you notice, their experience are spread across different sectors of the data industry. And based on their experience or based on the discrepancies that they had noticed whilst working or whilst coming up in their own career, they're now trying to close the gap and ensure that there is a seamless transition specifically for Africans in terms of how do they migrate from just doing the basics into becoming a competent data professional. So let me just proceed to my next slide. And this is myself. I am Esekena Barima. I am a data scientist and I lead the internship experience here at Amdari. I have had experience facilitating sessions across Africa and Europe. And right now I have this goal of making AI less complicated. So I have like a series whereby I simplify AI terms that look absolutely complex, and the goal is for us to adopt AI. And in terms of, because there's a massive global adoption right now, but a lot of persons are not really paying details to the background system of what works, and some persons actually think it's magic, which is ironic. All right, so welcome, welcome. It's nice to have all of you, and we will just be jumping right to the agenda for this session. So let me just mention that the resources, the recording, or whatsoever will be utilized, the slides for this session will be made available to you. All you need to do is fill an attendance form that will be sent into the chat. So ensure that you fill the attendance form and you would get all of these resources. I will just need you to focus, because for you to be on this call, it means there's a certain amount of value that you are seeking to get. And I trust that at the end of the session, you would be able to get that. So guys, can I get a reaction so we can proceed? I've been talking for a while. I want to know that we are in sync. Are we good? Are we good? Are we good? Are we good? Awesome. Thank you very much, Ifeoluwa. She's a data scientist. I believe she's now my friend on the call, and every other person is my acquaintance. But regardless, let's just jump right in to the agenda for today. So basically, we would be looking at how to get hired as a data professional without years of experience. We'll be addressing a secret weapon. It's no longer a secret again because you would know of it, but this is something that I myself utilized. Again, I read structural engineering during my undergrad. I didn't like do a CS degree or read data science, because then data science wasn't even a course, because I schooled in Nigeria. Data science wasn't even a course that was being taken at your undergrad level when I was in uni. But now there's a lot of adoption and exposure and all of that. So I would also be speaking from my own experience. Then we'll be discussing about the Amdari work experience, internship, and also our own special offer to you. So I would want you to, again, just sit back and learn, and we would be good to go. So now the very first question I would want to ask you, our topic says how to get hired as a data professional without years of experience. So I would need your genuine opinion. All right. Do you think this is true? Because I am always, again, of the opinion that what you believe has the ability to translate into how you would act. Okay, that means if you're applying for a job and then you're like, oh, okay, I don't have experience, so I don't think, let me just apply, sha. And in all of that context or in all of that scenario, you would give your barest minimum, or you just give an average output that you would normally do better than, because why? There's already a preconceived context that, or a preconceived opinion that, oh, okay, I don't think this is not just for me. So I need our responses. Do we think, is it absolutely possible to get hired as a data professional without years of experience? If I can get our responses in the chat, that would be lovely, so I can proceed to the next aspect of my slide. So guys, I need our responses. I'll need our responses. I'll need our responses. Is it absolutely, hello, can you hear me? Let me use the, can you hear me clearly? Is my network, so we can react to can you hear me clearly, but you cannot respond to my question. That's interesting. No, I don't think it's true to be hired without experience. However, it is possible to be hired without years of experience. Interesting. Thank you very much. Charlotte is saying, yes, it is possible. I need somebody to come and say, how do they do debates those days? I am here to contest this opinion that it is not possible, because I would love to get your feedback and know the root cause of your why you think is not possible. And then from there, we could, let's say, try to address what can be done. Now, Esther is saying yes, but you need to have a project portfolio or something to show your workings. Interesting. I don't think someone can get hired without work experience before we can say yes, but now it's becoming difficult. How to get hired as a data professional without years of experience. So let's follow me closely. All right, let's listen to what I have for us, and then we'll just have to discuss at the end of this session. I am always open to diverse opinions and learning from others. So Mahama is saying need work. Yes, we need work experience. So let's proceed. Let's establish context, because one of the most frequent questions I get from persons that are looking to transition into the data industry is, my friend is doing data analytics. Another of my friend is starting data science. Everybody around me is doing something relating to data. Is it still relevant for me to? I feel that it is saturated. I feel that it is getting too much. I don't know if you've experienced that. Can I get a kind of reaction where you're telling you that, oh, there's already too much people in this field, it is overpopulated, blah, 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 and all of those scenarios. So I want us to set context of what is currently happening in the data industry, because one thing that I've also noticed about Africans is the fact that we sometimes do not like to research and then look at established facts and established, let's say, gaps that with statistics, and then learn from that or improve on our own mindset or how we approach things. All right, so let me just check the chat if there's any comments, and then we'll proceed. It's rare, but based on your academic profile and project. So let me just go to my next slide and let's establish context of why it's still possible to get hired as a data professional. Now, follow me closely. This is just my triangle. It doesn't have a meaning. There are more points of why the data market is still a very, very will I say oil that is being harnessed, and why the demand again for professionals, specifically professionals that are adept with different domains. Guys, keyword domain is absolutely in demand. So follow me closely. We have the very first one, rapid market expansion. The data industry, can you confirm if you can see my slide, guys? Phone me is saying that she cannot see my slide. Phone me, so I think you would have to leave and join in again. Okay, let me just confirm. All right, I think I'm good from my end. Now, coming back to my slides, just leave and then join again. So we have uh, rapid market expansion. The data industry is booming and experiencing significant growth like never before. Guys, we would see some of my slides that I had to do, or I had to look up this fact so we can go over it and then see that I'm not the one cooking this up or telling you that there's rapid market expansion in terms of the amount or the volume that is being generated in terms of revenue for companies that are in the data market. Then coming back to my next point, we can see that escalating data creation, extreme volumes of data are being generated. Businesses are looking for skilled professionals. This is an opportunity. If you look back to the previous years, the orientation, or will I say how the popularity of data, right, wasn't so large. Yes, there were companies that were in sync, that were utilizing data for their analysis and all of that, but it wasn't that frequent, or it wasn't that consistent like what we have today. Because right now they've seen, most times people would want to let others try it, and then when there's like a feedback or a positive outcome, they would now want to join in that domain. So companies right now have noticed that, oh, by you analyzing what has happened previously, or you going back to look at, if this is a business that has to do with clients and customers, can we look at what were our customers interested in at a particular time frame? And if we are creating a projection for the next time frame based off what has happened in the past, can we create or now arrange and organize our resources and our budget for that incoming time frame so we can plan towards it and then make strategic decision making? So that's the main purpose of you being a data professional in essence. So companies have noticed that, oh, okay, there's now more adoption in terms of the data that is being generated in terms of Facebook, running ads, content, customer data that companies are collecting and all of that. There needs to be a way that they can derive insights from that data that can implement or influence strategic decision making. Now, coming to my next point, demand supply disparity. Again, you will be shocked that when statistics or when surveys are being carried out, they explicitly mention the fact that the skill gap is insufficient. And that makes me think about, oh, if the skill gap is insufficient and then people are saying that there are no jobs, what is happening? I don't know if you guys think about this thing. Like, even when the future of jobs report came out, that's like published every year by the World Economic Forum. They are saying that there are a lot of jobs, and then people do not have the skills, but there are not enough people to take those jobs. And from the general overview of, let's say, people around you, they will give off the vibe or the mindset that there are no jobs, they've been applying, and then nothing is happening. But on a global scale, or on a large scale, by their research, they're saying that there is a gap in terms of the competency level. So guys, let's look at this, and I believe we would be informed. Let me just proceed to my next slide, and we would be good to go. Apologies, I think my screen is acting up. But yeah. All right, moving to my next slide. Again, guys, when you click on this link, it takes you to the website. You would get access to these resources. All you need to do is fill the attendance form and everything would be sent your way. Coming back to my slide, why the data market? If you come to this place, the global data analytics market size is estimated at 50.4 billion in 2024, and it's meant to pivot or increase to 658.64 billion by 2034. Guys, can we see my screen clearly that this is pure research. This is not something that I am cooking up or that I am creating, right? So if they're telling you that the market size is going to increase, so it just means the total value of industries that deal with data and all of these scenarios, and they're giving you an estimation that in the next, from now till 2034, the global data analytics market is going to increase. That means companies are providing analytical services, they are dealing with data, they are meant to generate that equivalent of revenue in this industry because of what? The volume of data that is being generated. Let me go back to the slides, I'll just read it. Businesses need data analytics because it gives them the ability to manage, process, and simplify large data sets in real time while also enhancing their capacity for data-driven decision making. I always use this example that the sole goal of you being a data professional, yes, after all the Power BI, the Excel, if you are a data scientist, the Python, and all of that scenario, is for you to contribute to a business value. That's just the truth. If after all of the tools and the technical capacity that you have learned, you're not effectively contributing to solving a business problem or trying to eliminate a solution that a business is going through, you're not actually doing anything. And now this research in sum is just telling us that the volume of, let me see, what's this? Okay, not now. This research is just telling us that, oh, there's going to be what massive adoption in terms of the market cap, in terms of the industries that are involved that provide data analytics services, and in terms of the revenue that is going to be generated in the coming years. Now, for these businesses to operate, they would need individuals, they would need professionals, not just individuals in this scenario, that would be able to contribute and deliver effectively. Now, moving to my next point. The volume of data generated worldwide is anticipated to surge from, this is just statistics that I want us to understand why the data market is still relevant as of now. Now, this is saying that in 2025, 181 zettabytes of data is projected to being generated. I want you to think about this. In a month, a single smartphone user, right, generates 40 exabytes of data. Follow me closely. I don't know if I could type this, if I could draw this out. This is just me establishing context for us. A single smartphone user generates what? 30 exabytes of data, just 30. Now, you wake up in the morning, you go to your phone, you take pictures, or you go to WhatsApp, or you go to Instagram majorly, you like pictures, you comment and all of that, you like a post, then Instagram will start showing you a lot more of that post. That is your data that's just being tracked, and they already have like a recommendation system underlying all of their processes that would now show you more posts in that domain or in what you're looking for. Now, you as a single smartphone user, just you're generating 40 exabytes rather, not 30. Now, that's according to statistics. They're telling you that we have 5 billion smartphone users. Follow me closely. And guys, 1 zettabyte, this 181 zettabytes now is telling us from statistics, this is just me telling you that one zettabyte, right, is 1,000 exabytes. These exabytes that we see here. Okay, so you could just Google, and then you don't really need the statistics for anything. This is just to set context that, oh, because of the volume of data that is being generated continuously every single day, even right now, as we are recording, having this session and recording it, and you are being on this session, you from your end too, this is us what's creating video data. So continuously for the next century, or if let's say the world is going to disappear, eclipse and all of that, there's going to be an increased volume of data that is generated. Now, companies are trying to, how can we harness or how can we utilize this data that's being generated to get feedback, to get strategies that we could implement for businesses that would solve a problem? The big question that I think we should be asking is, these businesses, who exactly would be responsible for generating those insights? That is what your role is as a data professional. So this is the last slide on statistics, because so I don't want to bore you guys out. But if you follow Multiverse on LinkedIn or on any of their social media platforms, you know that they are a very, very renowned organization in terms of technological adoption and in terms of skills. Again, you can just click on this link and it takes you to the reports, right? This is a snipe of the report that I believe this is for 2024. Like we can see clearly, basic data skills are missing in action. Top data challenges reported by employees, making data analytics more efficient, 53%, using data to help tell a story, 45%. But in summary, we can look at this big visuals that says 57% have no or basic Excel skills, 55% have Power BI or Tableau skills, 86% have no Python skills. Now, this is subject to the research that these guys carried out. Yes, there's a probability in statistics that, oh, okay, the sample size that they used and blah, blah, blah. Sorry, that's more like into data science was not sufficient, so it's not representative enough. But from this report and even from the World Economic Forum, there's always this repetition of the fact that we have a lot of talent pool, but it's more like their skill level is just below, it's just the average of, let's say, learning how to write. Well, then there are persons that can now curve their writing and do all of those artistic intonations, or how, what do they call it? Can't really recall. So it's more like the people that don't really have, or the people that are a lot in the bottom or at the bottom of the triangle, they just have basic skills and not really getting abreast or getting profound with standard processes. And most of these guys, from the report, they're looking out for professionals that would be suitable to join the organizations. Again, I listed out 3 points from my triangle where I mentioned, oh, in terms of expansion, in terms of the market because of the global market cap, then in terms of skill gap and the volume of data that is being generated. So follow me closely. When I was thinking about this topic, I just split it into 2 domains. I want to know, as a data professional right now, which of these spectrums do you fall into? Because this would guide how you could strategically implement the tips that you would need to get hired even without years of experience. So are you on the career switcher side, where you have prior, you've worked, let's say, as a banker, you've worked as a doctor? I know back in 2022, I had like a student that was a doctor too, and then he was learning data science also. So it's more like he was now tailoring his research rather to the intersection of, oh, how can machine learning be implemented in data science or in his medical field rather. So I want to ask, I need the responses in the chat. Are you a career switcher on this call? You've worked somewhere before and you have some years of professional experience, you are seeking to transition, or you are currently in the process of going fully into a data role, or are you an enthusiast? This is just a naming convention that I utilize, that I used in tagging this. So my own context of enthusiast is you're a recent graduate or someone with little, or you've not worked anywhere before. You've taken courses and all of that, and you're looking also to pivot into the career path. I think the responses, I can see career switcher, I can see I'm an enthusiast. There are a lot more persons on this call. So if I could get a response, that would be lovely. If you don't want to type, all right, that's fine and good, but you know where the shoe fits, you know the domain that you fall into. So guys, follow me closely. Let's look at some issues that each of these spectrums of persons face. And most times they don't really go back to look at, oh, what can be done, or they just go with the flow of, I don't have this experience, there's nothing I can do. It just means that it's not my time yet. You now be cooking up scenarios to console yourself. So coming back to my slides, again, this is not a, nowadays I'm not really into the motivational thing. I just want us to listen, and then when we talk about the tips that you can utilize, you would now go back to implement them. Or if you're already implementing them, you just need to improve strategically and you'll be good to go. So I can see career switcher again. So thank you very much for that response, Deborah. So moving to my next slide. One common mistake that a lot of career switchers makes. Now, this is also relevant to the domain that you're coming from, actually, if I'm being practically honest. I've heard people say, oh, for the past 15 years, I have worked as an accountant. Now I want to transition to data analytics. All right. And then the question they ask is, do I remove everything that has to do with accounting from my own CV and then just put data analytics? I debunk that opinion immediately I get it, because imagine you are probably in your 30s or in your 40s, and or if you're in your 20s, all right, and then there's no previous experience. What is just now there is data analyst, probably like an internship experience or a boot camp that you took. No, no, no. As a career switcher, do not make the mistake of throwing away your past years of experience. I need you to take, if you can take that from this call. So the assignment that I would be given to you is, in your previous sector, data is everywhere. That's the awesome thing about being a data professional. In the health sector, in the finance sector, in marketing, right? You can apply data because of the data that is being generated in each of those domains. You can now leverage your skills as a professional to solving those problems in that niche. So the assignments I'm giving to you that I want you yourself to go and research in my previous experience, so that I can have an edge and then I don't have to throw away my past years of experience. What is the intersection between that and analytics? Again, the core functionality or the core meaning of analytics is just the fact that, oh, okay, we have data for whichsoever domain or niche or problem that we're trying to solve. We are now utilizing, exploring, doing an EDA and all of that to identify trends and patterns that would be suitable in solving that problem. If you are, let's say, an accountant scenario, right, you would have worked on, let's say, finance data for the past years. You can say, oh, I have worked in forecasting projections for my organizations. And now I use, let's say, Excel and SQL to analyze data and help businesses optimize their strategies and all of that. So think about it. Previously, this person worked on finance data. But now, because they've gained these analytic skills, all right, they are now what? They are now leveraging on that past experience and say, oh, okay, there was a period whereby I had to deal with this problem in this domain. Let's say as a marketing analyst, I used to track campaign for performance, blah, blah, blah. Now I leverage data science in terms of predictive analytics to understand customer behavior, if they would churn or not churn, and let's say optimize ad speed and all of that scenarios. Guys, think about it. I am not entirely throwing away my past experience to that, oh, okay, I am done with this life, because it just shows your recruiter, if they look at your CV, that, oh, for the past years, you've not done anything, and then I'm just seeing your CV and you are a data analyst that has done a course or a bootcamp, and then again you want us to bring you in for that role. So guys, if you are a career switcher, the very first assignment I want to give you, I want you to look at your past experience. There are skills, or we'll speak about that later, actually, that's on my slides. Try to find the intersection between that and the aspects of your data career, or the part of the, data career that you're looking to go into. And also there's you revamping your past experience to suit your projection as a data professional. Trust me, that's another conversation. There are strategies that you need to utilize in that domain. But the very first assignment, again, look at your past experience. Look at the target profession, target data profession. Data is everywhere. That's why I had to set context of the fact that, oh, data is being generated, and businesses, different domains, marketing, banking, health, name it, they want to leverage this data in making informed decisions. Now, going to my next points so I don't take so much. If you are an enthusiast, that's a newbie, the question of what you should be telling yourself is, I refuse to blend into the crowd. This is something that I have noticed. Think about it. I always recommend place yourself in the shoes of what you're applying for or in the shoes of the recruiter. Be practically honest with yourself. I always recommend self-reflection. You know the role that you're applying for, and then your skill level. Do you have it? Because there are scenarios whereby you will not have, trust me, you will not have that experience, that years of experience. But because you've had, as I'll be mentioning in my slides subsequently, because you've had a track record of you being proficient in this tool, trust me, that will just differentiate you or pivot you from every other person in the crowd. You can see this image whereby there's this guy and then there's everybody. It's obvious. So always ask yourself, right? I don't want to blend into the crowd. How exactly am I different from all the other job seekers for this role? If I was a recruiter and then I have hundreds of persons applying to this job, what can I do differently? That's the outlier mentality. Outlier is just in data science, it's just a data point or something that deviates, or let's say we have features that deviate from the norms. Let's say everything is going in this domain. Then you just have one point that's now red outside. Okay, that's just what an outlier is. So in this scenario, we're looking at a good outlier mentality. How can you ask yourself those questions? How can you deviate or separate yourself from the pool of all of the other graduates that just left school, that have not worked previously and are looking towards transitioning? Now, guys, I want you to follow me closely. There's a secret weapon that, even if as a career switcher or as an enthusiast rather, that you can utilize in you becoming a data professional. Again, I mentioned it's not secret again because we're on this call, but I'm coming there. And in simple terms, this is very, very simple. Actually, it is not that complex. There's something that we call transferable skills. So if we've heard of transferable skills before, can I see a reaction or a one in the chats? Awesome, awesome, awesome. Thank you so much, Abiodun. So it means that you're already on the right track. So for everybody, thank you, Ishmael. It means that you're already on the right track. For everybody, again, follow me closely on my screen. Regardless of your background, you already possess skills, excuse me, that are very, very valuable to businesses, guys. I say this all the time. It's because of there's either fear of, oh, I am not good enough yet, or you actually know you need to do the work, because there are some of us that actually need to do the work before even coming to talk about the fact that they're not getting jobs. There are skills that you have developed in your past life. All right, so I read structural engineering. We had to work with teams, we had to collaborate, we had to do designs and all of that. We had to go on site to do setting out, we had to do all of those stressful details. But in all of that, there were skills that you picked up. There were scenarios whereby, oh, I had to manage the team. I had to be responsible for logging or tracking of, let's say, the resources and reinforcements and all that we used that day. Right? But I don't need to explicitly state now that, oh, it's reinforcement or it's cement that I was tracking or granite, right? I was just effectively contributing to the success or a seamless process of the organization. All right, so that's just me putting it in a light way. There are traits that you would have picked up working in your previous industries as a student, even as a student, or if you're a career enthusiast or a career switcher or an enthusiast, that are instrumental to your role as a data professional. And I have seen this happen over and over again. Okay. And I don't know if we listen to podcasts or so. I always recommend that when you learn from people's experiences, it would more like motivate you that, oh, okay, I am actually on the right path. There are persons that have literally been told by the recruiter that you don't have this technical experience. We know that you don't have this experience, but because you had worked in this domain, right? In your CV or when you were speaking, you highlighted the fact that you had developed this skill set and it is critical or it is important for the current business problem that we are trying to solve. Because nowadays, trust me, you just being technical with the way the world is revolving is sometimes that's not the problem. That's not going to solve the problem. Rather, you would need a theoretical approach or a domain-based approach to that problem before you now think of, oh, okay, where can we call the dev guys or how can we implement technicalities that would solve this problem? So that's one key thing that you need to know. There are traits that you would have picked up in your previous work that you need to do not throw them away. The data industry is wide, it is broad. So you need to find the strategy that works for you and implement it. So let's look at those transferable skills. Curiosity, this is the first one, right? This is me highlighting, just giving you a high level. If you've ever been in a situation whereby you had to ask questions and you had to, oh, okay, this person is on my team, or let's say I was back in uni and then we had to work with team members for a project, or we had to collaborate for an exam, or we had to do something and all of that, right? And you had to ask questions. That's the aspect of curiosity. And then again, when you get into the world as a data professional, right, you would need to ask. It's more like you are going to your data, you are beating your data and asking your data questions that this data, there's a problem that this organization is facing. I need you to give me answers. Right? That is synonymous. So follow me closely. I will just give a high level overview and proceed. This is very, very important. Business acumen and domain knowledge is what I always advise to career switchers specifically. I would need you to do your own assignment and find the intersection of your previous experience and data. And I always recommend when you are pushing for your applications, yes, you do not have years of experience, but because of the fact that you have experience in that domain, now you're just adding acing, adding analytical skills to it. It will give you an edge. Now, if you notice, if you've worked with large organizations, they pay consultants to come and speak to them or give them advise if this is the next line of action. So it's more like you're doubling in your consulting role and the analytical role via the technical skills that you are providing. So if you have domain knowledge, again, the assignment is what? Find how data can be utilized in that industry and leverage on it. That would give you an edge compared to just throwing away your past experience. And then again, there are actually outlier scenarios whereby some persons throw away their past experience, they don't use that at all, but they will now follow the enthusiast scenario and they still get it. But you just have to put in the work. So my next point would be in terms of research. Again, as a data professional, you can use Excel if you want to use R, in fact, Python, Tableau, Looker, all of that. But the foundational or primary goal is the fact that you are solving a problem. If they tell you we're experiencing a decline in our sales or our customers are leaving the organization, you would need to ask questions. You need to understand what is the problem that we are trying to solve. Do we have relevant context or relevant information that could contribute to this problem? Or are there resources? Has something happened before? You would get to do your research and ask all of those questions. So coming to my next point, problem solving. Again, the foundation is the fact that you're solving a problem for this company as a data professional. So look back to your previous experiences. Were there scenarios whereby you've had to contribute to elimination of a problem in your previous roles or back if you're an enthusiast while you were in school and all of that, and write on those experiences when you're shooting your shots or when you're speaking. Now moving to my next point so we don't take a lot of time, and then we have teamwork, which is part of it. We have effective communication, we have attention. This is very, very critical, trust me. When you're speaking about the fact that, oh, in my previous role, I had to, let's say as a financial analyst, I had to work with my team and we implemented a strategy that resulted in, let's say, 15% increase in revenue across all of the sectors or across all of the departments where we had to deploy this sales strategy. That's you giving details of what you had done. Again, the example I mentioned was, oh, previously I used to track marketing campaigns, or I used to work as a banker in the organization, but now I utilize data science techniques in trying to predict, or in helping my organization create like a projection for the future on the next line of actions that they will need to take. Guys, as a career switcher, you are leveraging on your past experience. Even if you're an enthusiast and you don't have that, in quote and unquote, past experience, there are skills that you would have developed that you need to shine very well, because if you don't blow your trumpet, nobody would know that you are so good at this, right? So, because I mentioned a podcast where I was listening to, and this guy is like a big guy in the industry, and he explicitly stated that when he was coming up, all right, he had an experience in his sector, but he didn't have the analytical skills at all. But then again, it's more like he was now explaining the fact that, oh, he has done this before, he has contributed to this, explaining in terms of domain knowledge of what has been done. And his technical skills were not at par or extremely absolute, but because of that domain or that context that he had set of, oh, I would actually be able to provide value to this organization, and he was given the job. It's the same way. Again, the assignment I've been continuously repeating: find the intersection of your domain and the industry. So I'll just move on to my slides. We are already out of time. Oh my goodness. So I don't take so much on the call. So why transferable skills matter a lot, guys? Again, they bridge the gap between your past experience and your future role in data. It's more like you are 30 years old now, and then you're saying, I want to throw away the last 29 years of my life and start from year one. No, no, no. Realistically speaking, that doesn't make sense, as I'm even saying it out. So it's the same way whereby, as a career switcher now, or as an enthusiast, do not just throw away those experiences, all right, those conversations, those projects that you had to collaborate and all of that. You need to find that intersection, right? And considering the fact that the data industry is broad, that's the advantage that you have. You can apply data to any domain. If it's education, do I need to get information on the students to know who is passing or who is going to fail or who is going to drop out from the organization? If it's health, do I need to get medical records and all of that? If it's agriculture. So leveraging your past experience, guys, if that is what you can take from this call, right? Don't throw away that non-data experience that you don't have. Look at it critically. Data can be applied in that domain. All right. So coming to this place, then they show that you bring more than just technical skills. This would give you an edge. You bring business value. You bring business value to this organization. Now, guys, before we even talk of your transferable skills, that's absolutely fine and that's absolutely good. But there's this thing that I have seen common that I also highlighted at the beginning of this session. There are a lot of persons complaining about the fact that there are no jobs, there are insufficient resources and all of that. But when you get to interview some of these guys and you ask them questions, it will shock you that in terms of their knowledge base is insufficient. And I kid you not. I kid you. Yes, there are some persons that, oh, okay, they've not actually gotten that role, but they are putting in the work. It's just a matter of time. But there are some persons that would claim that, oh, okay, I don't have years of experience. I have found the intersection of my previous non-data experience and my current skill set, but that current skill set is absolutely missing. So the very, very first thing before you even come to start speaking about your transferable skills that would help you pivot is the fact that you need to learn. Again, I say this all the time, you need to settle down and learn the skills and functionalities that are utilized in the domain that, or the aspect of data that you are pivoting into. As a data scientist, look at the tools that they utilize. All right, there's something I used to do then. I would go to a job description and then just check what is most common across, because you know that sometimes recruiters, they're extremely awesome and then they just pack a lot of things in the JD, but then you can see Python will be across. You can look at the modules, you see sklearn and all of that across. So for that role that you're targeting. You need to do the work. There's no trust me, if you are so good at what you do, right? There's no how you will be ignored. That's just the truth, right? Even if there might be a delay, but there's no how that you will be ignored if you know your onions. And then the fact that you know what you're doing, you're not keeping it to yourself, but people around you also know that, oh, this is what this person does. Now, going to my next point, again, either as a career switcher or as an enthusiast, you need to do the work before coming to talk about the fact that, oh, I don't have years of experience, I've not gotten the job, blah, 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 and all of that. You need to learn, which is foundational. So going to my next point also, work on projects and build a portfolio. This is something that I see all the time. You're a data scientist or a data analyst. Okay. How do I know that? Where's the evidence? What have you done? Can I see what you have done? All right. So another thing that I always recommend that would give you an edge, the industry that you are looking to pivot into. Now, there are several strategies that you can utilize actually, right? This might not suit everybody, but if you're looking at going into the health sector, you want to be health analyst. It's the same analytical skills, but you're just working on health data and applying, let's say, if you read a medical course, you're applying your domain knowledge there. Even as a career switcher or as an enthusiast, either side of the spectrum, this works. I would advise that find problems in that niche, in that domain, and profess solution. Try to deploy your skills in that domain. This more like sets you apart, because when you're now applying for roles in that niche or in that domain, in that industry, it's not like as a finance, or you've been an accountant previously, or you read finance in school. And then again, I go to your portfolio, I can see that, oh, yes, you don't have experience. You don't have years of experience in working as a data professional, as a data analyst in that sector. But I can see that, oh, this is your past experience in finance. And now I'm seeing you deploying your analytical skills in solving financial problems and preferring solutions. So when you're niching down, right, yes, like this can have different aspects, or it can have like, will I say, not everybody this would work for, or not that it will not work for everybody, not everybody want to stick with this approach. But if you have like an industry that you are targeting, that, oh, this is the domain that I want to work with, this is where I am looking towards, I would advise that work on projects in that domain. And if there's a particular role that you're applying to, so it means that it's just projects that are related to that role that you now highlight at the top. All right. So if you want to be a health analyst, analyze medical data set for finance and all of that, and make sure that those projects you are working on showcase business impact. I cannot emphasize this. Okay, if I see a project that you are predicting petal length and petal width, how is that beneficial to an organization? I see that's a common data science project. Or you're predicting that's going to, I think the Titanic data set is a very, very popular one. How is that relevant to a business? That's more like a general scenario. That's not making you an outlier, because anybody else can just go and get that data and then do the analysis. But if you work on a data set, trust me, there are open source platforms where you can get this data set, and then you detail out, oh, this was the problem that you were trying to solve. This was the strategies that you implemented. These are the insights that you gathered from looking at the data, from beating your data. When you're speaking to an interviewer, you will be able to communicate context. You'll be able to communicate the fact that you had solved a problem for that project that you worked on. All right, so I hope this helps. The very first thing will be foundational learning. You need to do the work. And there are a lot of persons right now that talk about it a lot, talk about the fact that there are no resources, blah, 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 without foundational going back to calm down or settle down and learn. So coming to my next point, so we can wrap up, so we don't take so much time. The outlier mentality. Stand out from the pool. There's a session that happened on Saturday that I would want us to go to the Amdari website and then look at it, because time will not permit us to talk about every point that was mentioned there in terms of the strategies that you can utilize. But ask yourself, I always use this self-reflection scenario. If it's me that they're submitting this kind of CV to that is not optimized for this role, okay, would I be accepted into this program? Or will I accept myself if I was the recruiter? I think that we need to start doing a bit of self-reflection so we'll know that, oh, we need to go back and check at what we are missing or the issues that we are looking at. And most persons have this mindset that, oh, okay, because I am an enthusiast, I'm absolutely new, nobody will take me, blah, blah, blah. If I'm being honest with you, if you are good, if there is a potential that this person has worked on projects, right? They can speak about how they deploy analytical skills in solving a problem, right? They would value, you would be like a, you know, when new persons come into the organization and then they get to train them and is it what's the word, breed them for future higher endeavors. When recruiters have a conversation with you, they can spot those guys that have done the work. And now, even before you even get to the interview phase, when you sent out your application, did you probably send a message to the recruiter? Did you just send out your application? Did you optimize it? Right, there are AI tools right now that you can use to check for keywords that were stated in your CVs and then put it there. Did you include a cover letter? I know that, trust me, looking for a job is a job on its own, and I'm not kidding you, but you need to do the work. You have a target that you want to reach, that, oh, in the next years I want to be this level of profession. I want to have this level of professionalism, rather. It doesn't just come by talking, right? There is a level of dedication that would go into that. Now, companies value newcomers who challenge status quo and ask relevant questions. Present yourself as an asset, not just another random applicant that is just in the pool. Did you do your research on the organization? Was there a problem that they were facing, and then you deployed your skills to just analyze the problem and just send in like a summary to a member of the team that you are looking to join, and all of those scenarios. So it just makes you stand out from the crowd. So moving to my next point, this would be just a detailed aspect of either as a career switcher or as an enthusiast. An advantage that would give you an edge as a career switcher is niching down and leveraging on your past experience. It would give you an edge, but there are some persons that decide that, oh no, I want to take the enthusiast route and just start from scratch. So whichever one works for you, when you make your decision, you have to live with the consequences of your action and push forward. Okay? Now, example, if you were working in a bank, position yourself as a data professional with financial domain expertise. Domain knowledge helps you overcome technical gaps and solve industry specific problems better. Again, guys, I am trying to, if apologies if I'm trying to be fast, I'm trying to wrap up this session so I don't keep us on the call for a long time, and we will get the resources to the slides, the recording, and everything. But before I proceed, I've been talking for so long. Are we still here with me? Are we listening? Are we getting value? Are we learning from this session? Let me confirm. So I know I'm not just speaking Spanish and talking to myself, and I believe that I'm talking to people on the call. So guys, I need more responses. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Again, whatsoever resources were utilized in this session, you would get them. I just need you to listen, and we will be out in a bit. For the enthusiasts, you are starting on a clean slate. Okay? Ask yourself the question. The goal of any organization is to, if it's a business in terms of revenue, if they're solving problems, they would want to get value. No organization would want to take an absolute newbie, right, with nothing to offer, emphasis on nothing to offer, and bring them on a project that can cost them a lot. So if you have no experience at all, aside the fact that the transferable skills that you've gathered, I would want you to begin, if you've not started already, begin the process of creating a digital footprint, or begin the process of building credibility that will know that, oh, yes, this person is just starting out, but this is a track record of what they have done, right? In terms of their applying of analytical skills to problem solving, and in terms of the projects that they are worked on, that they have worked on. Now, there are different approaches that you could take. You could go through the aspect of networking with professionals in your industry. You could go through the aspect of being consistent about posting on the posting on the project that you've worked on, particularly on LinkedIn, or if you want to use Medium. But LinkedIn is more like the professional platform, and then that's where recruiters get to search for your profile when you apply for a job and all of that. But that's a plan of building credibility. So we'd see that yes, this person does not have years of experience. That fact is there. But I can see that they're intentional. I can see that they've learned these tools and they're consistent in their part as a data professional. And another thing would be to just engaging people in your industry that you're looking into. There are people that from you replying on their posts, right? They would now see your activities in their field, and they cannot be checking your projects that, oh, okay, this is something that this guy does well. You will be shocked that people are actually, it's funny that people are actually watching, but sometimes because we don't get so much engagement, or because we are worried about the fact that, oh, I'm putting myself out there, I'm not that kind of person and all that. My dear, with all due respect, you do not have experience, so you need to find a way to stand out as an outlier. It is very, very critical. Now, coming to my next point in terms of finding like a long-term approach to developing relationships. There are some persons that I would go on LinkedIn and then they will just send one long message. Again, the question is, if they send that long message that they are typing to you, would you respond to the message? So you need to set context first of all. These guys, you want to engage on their post, then subsequently you can now come and say, oh, I saw a scenario whereby you did this, right? What strategy did you implement? How did you finally achieve this goal? You mentioned this in this your post that you blah 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 blah. And you don't have to do this for everybody because that's like time consuming. You can target specific people that are in an industry that you're looking towards. And this is just me giving you pointers. All right. You would also need to research about an organization. Research is a core foundational skill of a data professional, right? You will need to do the background work of looking at, oh, this is the industry that I'm going into, or this is the organization that, let's say, I've sent in an application. Do I reach out to the recruiter? Do I reach out to a member of the technical team and then speak to them on strategies that could help me, or just get their opinion? So either as a career switcher or as an enthusiast. So this brings me to my next point. Is it possible to get a data role without years of experience? Guys, without years of experience. And if I'm being practical with you, I saw this post recently whereby today is the 20th of March 2025, and then you're saying that I will do this thing, or you're thinking about the fact that, oh, I don't have time again to do this thing. By the 20th of March 2026, right? If you do not implement that strategy, or if you do not go with the fact, apologies, I'm trying to disconnect this. If you do not, sorry about that, guys. Just give me a moment. By the 20th of March 2026, if you had implemented that strategy, you would obviously see a track record of growth, instead of the aspect of no, time has gone out for me and there are a lot of blah 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 blah, there are a lot of issues and all of that. But the reality is the data job market, you can see the projection. That's why I had to set context first of all, that this is projected in the next couple of years, the amount of money, the amount of cash flow that will be revolving in this sector, and the fact that the AI industry, right, relies on the foundations of data, that's gathering all of those data and then training a model and blah, 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 blah. So this industry is very, very crucial. So companies would long-term need talent that understand how to deploy their skills in solving problems for a business and contributing to value. So you need to start that process instead of this aspect of complaining or or procrastinating and all of those scenarios. Yes, it might not come immediately. That's if you've been applying for multiple roles. You will now need to go back and check, oh, where am I making a mistake? Where's the issue coming from? What can I do better? Or what strategies can I implement that would more like a reflection scenario of going back to check what you've done and then using that to make decisions moving forward? Guys, time would always keep on passing. But if there's a track record of excellence, trust me, I kid you not, it is going to pay off. You cannot be intentional about what you're doing, what you're posting, your work as a data professional, irrespective of the domain that you're working on, and then you honing your skills and it doesn't show forth. It means there's something absolutely wrong, or you're not doing something well, or nobody knows. All right, the whole aspect that you're good is just in your head, right? Your friends or your relations or people around you that you're even meant to network with don't even know that you're in that sector. Okay, so we'll be wrapping up in a few, and yeah, I will just need to move on to the next aspect of my slides and we will be good to go. Now, for either as a career switcher or an enthusiast, there is an exclusive solution that Amdari is offering that would help you pivot into your career as a data professional, that would help you, that will give you strategies also in getting you hired, even if you don't have the years of experience that are required for that role. So whichever spectrum you follow or you fall in as a career switcher or as an enthusiast, I want you to listen and follow me closely. Now, there's something called the Remote Apprenticeship Virtual Experience Program that we run here at Amdari. So the goal of this program, like I rightly mentioned at the start of the session, is you have foundational knowledge. You've learned either business analysis, data science, data analytics, data engineering somewhere. But we want a scenario whereby you need to have an edge in your application, either as a career enthusiast, let's say you're switching completely, or as a career switcher, rather, or as an enthusiast. But you do not have those years of experience. So Amdari offers what we call a remote apprenticeship virtual experience program that would help revolutionize or would give you strategies and give you tips that you can utilize in being technically competent and becoming an outlier. So guys, I want you to follow me closely and we'll be wrapping up very, very soon. There is a simple technique that we utilize here at Amdari. That's the technical skills and experience and your employability skills. This is what would land you that job offer. Again, this applies to both a career switcher or an enthusiast. So irrespective of your domain that you fall into, the goal of the virtual experience program is, if you're a career switcher, you come on board with us. We have professionals that would speak to you on how can you leverage your past experience. What's your past experience? What have you done before? Okay, now how can we refine your CVs? How can we refine your LinkedIn profile to suit the targets that you're looking at? That's one. As an enthusiast, you've not worked or you've not done anything before. You coming on board to the virtual experience program now gives you what, an experience, and then gives you like a track record of projects that you can work on that would help you build credibility. Again, the simple formula that we use is developing your technical skills and experience alongside the employability side of things. You know, I mentioned that you're so good at what you do as a data professional, but there is no track record. Nobody knows that you can even, there are some persons, I hope you're not on this call, that you can build a dashboard as a data analyst, or let's say as a data scientist. Now that's on the side, but you don't really focus on visualization and all. And then nobody literally knows that you can do that. You are absolutely wrong. So for the employability skills side, you would get to learn on how you could strategically position yourself in the sector that you are pivoting into. Now, guys, for the virtual experience program, there is a structure that we follow. So Amdari, we have partners cutting across Africa, Europe, and Canada, and then they have specific problems that they are working on. So what we do is we get these problems from these partners as projects. We anonymize those projects, and that's for data privacy reasons. And when you get to come on board with us, you get to work with teams. There are scenarios whereby you'd also get to work individually, that's solely on a project. And in working on this project, you would need to deploy your skills. You would need to harness not just your transferable skills now, but the technical skills in contributing to solving this problem. And then when you are done, you get to have a presentation with stakeholders where we discuss, oh, what was the strategies that you utilized? What was the approach that your team members took? Or what did you contribute to this project? And what did you learn? Or what was the business problem? And at the end of this project, were you able to eliminate that problem and provide value to that organization? This is more like the structure that we follow for the technical skills and employability side. And guys, guess what? At the end of all of this, you get access to leverage or ride on this project as even as a career switcher or as an enthusiast to build credibility and add up your portfolio. And then you get to, when I mentioned, oh, you could either write an article, or if you want to post on LinkedIn, or if you want to utilize other platforms, but you get the liberty to ride on this experience that, oh, yes, let's say I was let me use the accountant scenario previously, but now I'm using analytics to solve this problem, to leverage financial data and all of that in preferring solutions, in doing this and doing that. But the whole essence of this is you now get an additional icing on the cake. That's as a career switcher now, that would give you or would improve the technical side of things for you. But for the enthusiast, you're now getting what? A track record. You are building credibility. So that's why I mentioned earlier that irrespective of the domain that you fall into, as a career switcher or as an enthusiast, Amdari provides an environment for you to build upon and hone your skills in getting competent as a professional, as a data professional. Now, the thing that you also get from Amdari is you get the aspect to refer to those experiences. It's more like when you get to the interview stage, I'm asking, tell me about a time when you had to deploy your skills or work with a team in solving a problem. And then because you worked on that project, because you effectively contributed and you collaborated with your team, right? You can now speak from that experience that, oh, this is what I did. Because if experience is actually the best teacher, right? When you're speaking from experience, it will be obvious compared to when you're just speaking virtually and all of those scenarios. So you get to leverage on this system that Amdari has built, all right, to your own path or to your own career as a data professional. Now, again, the structure that we follow is your technical side, your technical skills and experience, plus your employability skills. That is what would land you that job offer, or it would fast track your path to getting hired as a data professional, irrespective of the spectrum, either as a career switcher or as an enthusiast that you fall into. Like I mentioned, we run a project-based experience via the remote apprenticeship virtual experience program and the employability side of things that is necessary for you to thrive as a data professional. And basically, what Amdari is providing for you is you get to work on industry projects. You get to work with cross-functional teams. There are scenarios whereby you'd have to collaborate with the data engineers. There's a current project whereby the D guys, they are scraping the data. The DS guys, they are from that database building a model that would be able to solve a business problem for a current business or a current case that they are working on. Now, you get to collaborate with different individuals across the teams that you'll be working on. And this will be increasing your what? Technicality. This will be building your competency and your credibility by leveraging on the experience that you are getting from Amdari. Then in terms of the employability side, you get your CV revamp. So CV revamp is a scenario whereby, oh, from your past experience, how can we now find that intersection between your past experience and analytics that's offering or utilizing data, right, in that domain. So we have that. Then we have your review session whereby you've not done anything or you are just an enthusiast, you are just a fresh out of school graduate. You can now leverage the experience that you have with Amdari to, again, because I mentioned this is an icing on the cake, more like you're now leveraging Amdari and building upon what Amdari is offering, right, to show credibility of yourself as a professional. Now, you also get your LinkedIn optimization session. We have what we call your mentorship sessions where we invite business and industry professionals to come share their insights on strategies that they utilized and skills and techniques that could help you during your apprenticeship experience here at Amdari. We have the interview preparation session whereby when you apply for a job and you have an interview, you can come on board, book a session with us, and then we get to drill you and ask you based off that JD, would have to drill you with industry specific questions on what is expected or what is required of you in that job. So when you get on that panel, you'll not be fidgety, you'll not have to think about, you learn to think on the spot actually, because that's one of the highlights of interview sessions. You get a job reference letter. Trust me, you get an international job reference letter. Amdari is based in Canada and also registered in the UK. So when you apply for a job, or let's say you want to apply for a graduate degree, you get the liberty to request for a reference letter, and then we can attest to the fact that, oh, this person is currently enrolled with us as one of our, we call our interns, that if you're registered for our internship experience program, we call them consultants. So the reason why we call you consultants is because you're working across different sectors. You're getting the problems from our business partners, and then you get to deploy your skills across those different problems in solving or in preferring a solution. And then you get also on the job support. So when you land a job and you would need guidance, or let's say there are scenarios whereby you don't want to go back to your team leads to ask, oh, I don't know how to do this, because that would give you like a bad face and all of that. You have mentors that are assigned to you during your sessions that you can always reach out to and get feedback. All right, so in summary, we have a cohort that is starting on the 12th of April. That's starting next month. And the interesting thing is, right now for the experience program, we are running a discount because of the International Women's Day. I believe this is International Women's Month. So we are running a discount. We know that there is a clear gap between what persons have learned and what is expected of the industry, or what is expected as standard. So Amdari is trying to fast track that process for you, irrespective of the domain that you fall into as a career switcher or an enthusiast. We are refining and placing that icing on the cake that would help you pivot smoothly into becoming a data professional. So we have a course starting on the 12th of April. And currently, guys, we are running a 50% discount. Now, if you look at my screen, specifically for the data-centered project that we run, or data-centered experience rather that we run, we also have on cybersecurity. But naturally, for your 3 months experience with us, where you would work on both the technical side and the employability side of things, you're meant to pay £340. But because we've been running this discount since the beginning of this month, that's prior to the Women's Day, the International Women's Day, and we have like specific slots that we have left. Okay, yes, it's a women's program, but we had to include some slots for men. Naturally, you'd have to pay £340, but right now we are running a 50% discount in summary, and then you get to pay just £180 for the 3 months experience. Now, for the 6 month experience, instead of you paying £600, you get to pay £280, guys. And then this is your CV session, your LinkedIn session, your access to an exclusive job board. So I'll demo this for us right now. You'd see the online portfolio builder, you'd see the Google Classroom, whereby we have the employability sessions and the career coaching sessions. But before I proceed, let me just show us how to make payments. That's if I believe we can attest to the fact that Amdari is offering a lot of value, and this would be pivotal, or this would be necessary to your own growth as a professional. So what I'm just going to do is, to make payments, my colleague is also sending a link to the chat. What you need to do is to click on that link. So it takes you to this page. Let me share this tab instead. And if you can see, we are currently running a 50% discount based off the IWD program, the International Women's Day program. Yes, it's a Women's Day program, but for gender equality, we had to be inclusive of the men also and allocate some slots to them. So what you need to do is to just click on secure your internship, and it takes me to this tab. This is loading. That is why it's taking so much time. All right, give me a moment, guys. So it takes me to this tab, and then you get to, can we see the screen that I am sharing? I don't know if we can confirm if you can see that screen. Let me know if it's just coming from my end. All right, so give me a moment. Let me just clear this. Okay, guys, apologies. This is taking so much time. But all right, I'm trying to reload this screen so we can proceed. All right, let me just click on this and share. Now, if I go back to this screen, let me just do like a demo of, if you're paying in pounds, this would be 180 pounds. Guys, follow me closely. And if you're paying for the 6 months, this would be 280 pounds. But if it's in dollars, you get to pay $225 for the 3 months experience and $350 instead of 700 for the 6 months experience. And another thing that Amdari is providing, right, is the fact that we know that the entire package of the remote apprenticeship virtual experience is suitable, is a need, or it's a necessity for professionals right now. So what we are doing is we are offering a multiple, more like a multiple instrumental payment. You don't have to pay this amount at a go. So guys, I know we have questions. When I'm done, I would listen to all of our questions. If you want to send to the chat, or if you want to use the hand icon, I would take them. Okay, so currently for the discount that is running, the 50% discount, you don't have to pay all of the money once. That's if you're paying both in pounds or if you're paying with dollars. You don't have to pay all of that amount once. You get to pay instrumentally if that is what you decide to work with. So now when I click on that tab, it takes me to this page. You can see this is, I clicked on the 3 month scenario earlier. Again, if I am paying once, this is for the one-time payment. If I am paying on a twice instrumental scenario, this is for it. And then if I want to split my payments into 3 scenarios, I would have to pay $75 3 times. That's for the 3 months that you would be working with us at Amdari. Again, guys, this discount is for 50% and it's based off the IWD program. And like I mentioned, we have like an extremely limited slot. I believe on my slide it was like 5 men left, because we'll have to confirm if it's not even lesser from the finance team. But Amdari is giving the scholarship out so you can leverage on it instead of having to pay 700, or instead of having to pay 300 or $400. You get a 50% discount that you can leverage. Now, what you need to do is, if I select that I want to use the one-time payment, all I need to do is just secure my seat, and then I proceed and fill out the next. I fill out my name, I fill out my email address, and then I proceed to make my payment. Now, when you are done with making your payment, there is an email that will be sent to you. What you just need to do is look at the terms and conditions and just fill it, right? If I want to record my mail, I'll just need to click on it. Then what's your first name, your last name, your registration email, your country of residence, that's where you stay, your current status. Are you a student? Are you a recent graduate? Are you switching your career? Because I sectioned today's masterclass into just career switcher, and then the next your end user. So let me just fill this quickly. So this is me, let's say Brahma, and then let's see Esiagena. This is just me demoing this for us, and then I will choose, let's say bb@gmail.com, and then I choose a country of residence. You can pick, or if let's say you're staying in a country that is not let's use Ghana, and then current status, let's say I'm a recent graduate, and my phone number, and I use, let's say what's Ghanaian's phone number? I don't really know, but I just type in something and then I click on next. And yeah, so I have to click on this and then I click on next. So basically, this is just me demoing how you can fill the form, and you just need to follow the process and you would be good to. I think I have like an error here. That is why this is returning, right? But regardless, it's a very seamless process. You just have to fill the form and then select, oh, what are you interested in data science? Can you now upload a screenshot of the payments that you have made and just now the name of the account? So it's more like a detailed process. You just have to, when you make payments, you come here and include that and you'll be good to go. So let me just go and share the Amdari platform, right? So this is the Amdari platform that you'll be getting exclusive access to. When I click on my profile, first of all, there is something that we call your portfolio. Now, recall I mentioned that you will need to build online credibility. All right, so you will need to deposit or you need to show a track record of this is what you have done, or this is a report of projects that you have worked on. So if I click on my portfolio site, once you are signed up or you are registered with Amdari, you get access to all of this. And you don't need to pay like a developer, or you don't need to pay like an entire dev team to assemble this for you. No, you just do this by filling a form. So if I want to edit this, I can click on this, edit what I want to do, and update my profile. So what you can do now is when you are, or you want to update this on your CV, you just need to share the link to this profile, copy and paste this link to a recruiter, and you would be able to show your track record of being consistent. Now, recall I mentioned an exclusive job board. When you join us here at Amdari, you get full access to this platform. Trust me, aside the employability scenarios or the skills that you'll be learning on the technical side, this is part of your package. And again, we are running an internship. So you get an all-in-one job board. Instead of you having to go through each of these platforms, you just come here and search for the role that you're looking for, because we've noticed that it sometimes is challenging, but some persons also still like to, let's say, go to LinkedIn and all of that. But we recommend that you come to the job board and look for the role that synchronizes with you, and then you get to apply to those jobs. But you don't just apply. During your employability sessions, you would learn, oh, how can I extract keywords from the job description and then tailor that to my CV, and I would be able to apply for the role. Another thing that Amdari is also offering is in terms of our Learn page. All right, so these are just courses that you could explore to just give you like a background knowledge of, oh, yes, you are preparing to be onboarded as a consultant working with us. But prior to then, if there are gaps in your knowledge, right, again, Amdari is strictly for persons that have foundational knowledge, or you've worked, or not really you've learned the basics of data analytics, data science, and all of that, but you want to gain industry experience. Note, you're not coming to learn from scratch. No, 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 no. You're coming to work on projects strictly, because the goal is for us to close that gap and ensure that you get a role. So before you come to us, you should have learned the foundations of, oh, okay, I know how to use Excel, but I am not so good. Like, I have a basic level. I know how to use Python, but I've not worked extensively on projects. I've not exhausted all of the machine learning scenarios or libraries, right? So when you come to us via the projects that you'll be working on and the business problem, you would get competency and you would build your transferable skills and your technical skills alongside your employability. That's you positioning yourself as a professional. So let me also just show the Google Classroom, and then I will take our questions because we are running out of time, and then just show like a demo of the projects that these guys are working on. So let me share this tab instead, and then we can proceed. Again, we run this across data analytics, data science, data engineering, cybersecurity, project management, and business analysis. I know I saw a question in the chat for project management, but right now we've exhausted. Trust me, we work on a project basis. So when we have exhausted the number of persons that we need to take for a project-based scenario or for like a business problem that has been brought to us by our partner. Apologies, we will not be able to take more people for that experience program. So for the project management, we do not have an opening for that. We just have for data analytics, data science, business analysis, and data engineering, and then the different aspects of cyber security. So this is just a cyber security project, but let me move on to, let's use data analytics, and let's see an overview of the projects that these are the employability sessions, and then they get a book study session, and there's also a stakeholder presentation. And this is just, let me look at a project that these guys have worked on. Let me just have a brief overview of the project so we can see. All right, so it's more like there's a business problem, and then you'd contribute to solving the business problem, you'd contribute to deploying your skills and all of those scenarios in your teams. There are scenarios whereby you have to work with teams, there are scenarios whereby you have to work individually, but the goal is for you to solve that problem. So let me just check another Google Classroom so we can see clearly. So this is for business analysis. Now, these guys, trust me, I'm so proud of these guys because they're currently working on a resume project. And let me just show us a sneak peek of the project document. These are the sessions they have with their mentors. And yeah, let me look at this document. All right, this is a business problem that they've been collaborating with the project managers, the development team, and they are working towards creating like a platform that would be suitable for recruiters. That's both on the recruiter side and then on, let's say, a job seeker side. If you're a business analyst here, if you can see the user personnel, and then when you get to do your BRD and your requirement gathering, you need to collaborate with your team and the project stakeholders to define what is expected or what is the requirement for that project, and then you get to ensure that that is being translated into an actual product that's working with the development team. All right, so this is more like a high-level summary of what Amdari is offering. And guys, again, we are running a 50% discount. So at this point, I would be taking our questions. I know that I have said a lot without us responding. Right now, project management is not available. So when it will be, we're looking towards, they would have to communicate that during our masterclass sessions. So let me see another question. What happens after making payments and reach through the TNC and you don't seem to be satisfied with the terms and conditions? All right, so Abiodun, you'd have to send us a mail. Okay, you could either send a mail to, you can see finance@amdari.io, you could send a mail to info@amdari.io, or you could send a mail to primer@amdari.io, and then we take it from there. Or you can book a session with us. We call it a clarity session, where you can come on board and then just discuss with us on the next line of action and what's your projected career path is and how you can synchronize it with the foundational skills that you've learned in data science, or let's say data analytics. All right, and on the payment platform also, you get to, on the payment platform also, you can indicate the currency that you are paying with, because I just saw a conversion in the chat. We are offering this, trust me, this is a 50% discount, and at the end of this month, or when we have this slot closed, actually, not really at the end of this month, we would not be taking anybody again. So I saw a conversion in the chat. You could just come here and click on the current country that you're residing in, and you would see the conversion. So this is for USD. If I want to check the Naira back, right? If I want to check the Naira back, excuse me, all I need to do is just click on this and I can proceed to make payment. So I'll just share this tab back and I'll take our questions. I want to ask us, is Amdari offering value to us? Is Amdari offering us a problem or a problem solving scenario, an exclusive solution? I need a reaction. I need our questions so we can call it a day. I do not want this session to extend for so long. So what would you say is the difference between 3 months project and the 6 months internship? All right, Jane, it's the amount of projects that you'll be working on. So for the 3 month experience, you can get to work on 4 to 5 business problems, and then you deploy your skills, you do your presentation with your stakeholders and all of that. But for the 6 month scenario, because you're staying for a longer time, you get to now work on multiple projects and then be exhaustive of more domains or more sectors. And then again, you just be honing your skills for a longer time. So what provision do you have for people who need more work experience and may have acquired technical skills and employability skills from your subsidiary 10 Analytics? So what provision in what aspect? So from my understanding of this question, thank you very much for this, Abiodun. Now, when you come on board, you get to hone and refine the skills that you have learned. All right, so I believe you're referring to 10 Analytics would be in terms of the training that you've gone. All right, that was you getting foundational learning. Now, when you're coming to Amdari, you're not coming to learn. You're not coming to learn from scratch. Let me emphasize on that, right? You're not coming to learn the basics, or you're not coming to learn, oh, this is hello world. This is how to write a simple Python code, or this is how to, from sklearn, import this. No, you're not coming to be trained on the basics or the foundations of, if you're a data scientist, of data science or data analytics and the rest, right? You're coming strictly to work on business solutions and deploy those skills that you've learned foundationally, all right, in solving a problem, working with your teams and providing a solution to that problem via your presentation sessions with your stakeholders and all of that. And what you get from Amdar is the fact that you get the portfolio, you get 2 years of international work reference letter, and you get access to employability sessions that are now more tailored towards how you can transition effectively into the industry, and not just how you can, let's say, learn from the basics or how you can start. So all of our sessions are tailored towards that domain of how you can move. You have learned the basics. That's awesome. Those are the kind of persons that we take in at Amdari, right? You must have done a training. If you've used YouTube, if you've learned the foundation somewhere else, Udemy and all of that, or in other training platforms, you're coming here to deploy those skills in solving a problem. And then you get access to the job board. Again, Amdari is tailored to it. How can you move from the knowledge that you've gathered already into a business or into the industry? Okay, so I will just look at the chat and then take more of our questions. So let's see. We project management be available. I've already responded to that. I've already responded to that. Andrew, I've also responded to project management. Project management is currently not open. We've exhausted the number of persons that we are taking for that program. So guys, if you have any questions, I would need you to drop it in the chat. And if you have not filled the attendance for this session, the slides, the recording, and everything that is utilized would be sent to your email. So ensure that you fill the attendance form, and you can also book a clarity call with us. Let's say you are unsure about, oh, how can I, as a career switcher, find the intersection between my previous experience and then what my future goal is, or what my projections is, right, as a data professional. So you can come on that call, speak to us, because this is a masterclass session. I can't really get the nuances of what you faced or your previous experience, but that's a more intimate call that we're going to discuss. Oh, okay, what have you been through previously, right? What's your experience like? What's the next line of action for you? And how Amdari can help you solve that problem. So my colleagues are sending all of those links in the chat, and we look forward to having you join us here at Amdari. All right, this discount is running for 50%, and trust me, this is an advantage to both the ladies majorly, but for guys, if we've exhausted the amount of persons that we are taking, I'm sorry. All right, so if we do not have questions, we will be calling it a day at this point. So I need a reaction. Did we get value from this session? Did we get value for this session? So Bongani is saying discount for 3 months. So for 3 months, you get to pay $225. That's if it's in dollars, instead of $400. And again, like I mentioned, you don't have to pay the $225 once. No. You could either utilize any of the 3 the three instrumental payments that I mentioned. But all you need to do is to just secure your slot, first of all, because when we close this discount, we would be reverting back to the original price. So even if you now make payment, it will be based off, you'll be charged based off this original price. All right, so let me just check the chart again. Discount for 3 months isn't 15. I'm trying to understand that question, but if you could look at my screen for data analytics, data science, data engineering, business analysis, instead of you paying $400, you get to pay 225. And yeah, you get to pay instrumentally. You could pay based off the category that is selected. If you want to pay in 3 installments, or let me just go back and share that screen. If you want to pay in 2 installments, let me just pull up that screen. All right, so you have to choose the payment plan that you want to work with. If it's for the 3 months, a 3-month scenario, if you want to pay that at the end of 3 months, if you want to pay on a 2 months plan, or if you want to pay like a one-time payment. And then you also get the 6-month scenario. What you just need to do is when you click on the link that my colleague sent in the chat, you, instead of your 3 months, you just have to click on secure internship for the 6 months, and then you now get to look at the 6 months payment plan and utilize that in signing up with us here at Amdari. So Bon Gani, I hope that answers your question. Guys, I need a reaction if we got value from this session so we can call it a day. I believe that we got value from this session. I don't know about you, but I enjoyed speaking with us, and I'm always happy that when I jump on a call, we get value, we learn strategies that we can implement in our daily lives as professionals, and we get to grow as Africans in the data industry. So we'll be looking forward to having you join us here at Amdari. Have a wonderful, wonderful evening. For Andrew, I saw your questions. I'll be looking forward to having you. For Aderon Care, for Bongani, for all of the other persons, for Jane, for Abiodun, and all of the rest that we're engaging during the session. We'll be looking forward to having you join us here at Amdari and improving your skill set, both employable wise and technical wise, with us here at Amdari. So cheers and have a wonderful evening, everyone. Have a good evening. All right.